Ever feel like the economic news is written in a totally different language? You hear about the inflation rate or you see the price of bread go up at ShopRite, and it all feels, well, complicated. But what if I told you that economics is really just a powerful toolkit for understanding the world? Seriously, in this explainer, we're going to build that toolkit together piece by piece. By the end, you'll see your own choices and the headlines in South Africa in a completely new light. So here's the plan. We're going to start with the one big problem that all of economics is trying to solve. Then we'll get into the real cost of any choice you make. After that, we'll talk about how to make decisions bit by bit, see how your own choices connect to the whole economy, and finally, we'll open up the Economist Toolkit and see how they make sense of it all. Ready? Let's go. Okay, first things first. To get economics, you have to start with one simple, universal truth. It's the reason the entire field even exists. And it all comes down to why we just can't have it all. I mean, really, think about it for a second. It doesn't matter if it's your own budget for groceries and data for the month, or the government trying to decide between funding new schools or new hospitals. There's always a limit, right? We always seem to want more than we can actually get. Well, this fundamental problem has a name. It's called scarcity. And listen, this is super important. It is not just about money. Time is scarce. You only have 24 hours in a day. Natural resources are scarce. Even your attention is scarce. The problem is, our wants are basically unlimited. And that gap, the gap between our limited resources and our unlimited wants, that's the central challenge for every single one of us. So this is the big takeaway. Because of scarcity, we have to choose. And that's all economics really is. It's the study of choice. It gives us a framework to understand how we, as people and as a country, make decisions when we can't have everything. It's not just about stocks and money. At its very core, it's about human behavior. All right, let's keep building on that. So we know scarcity forces us to make choices. But here's the next step. Every single choice has a consequence. There's a hidden cost that goes way beyond just the price tag you see. Yep, every choice is a trade-off. It's an exchange, plain and simple. Let's say you're a student. The time you spend at your part-time job is time you can't spend studying. So you're trading off a potentially better grade for some cash right now. You just can't have both at the exact same time. Okay, let's make this super practical. Take a look at this picture. You've got ice cream, chocolate, and some jelly babies. You've got enough money for just one. So, if you pick the ice cream, what did it really cost you? Is it just the rands and cents you handed over? Or is it something else? And boom, that brings us to a giant concept in economics, opportunity cost. The real cost of that ice cream isn't all the other sweets, it's the next best thing you gave up. So if your second choice was the chocolate, then the chocolate is your opportunity cost. It's the value of the path you didn't take. And once you get this, it changes how you look at every decision. Now let's be real. Most of life isn't about these huge this or that decisions. A lot of our choices are smaller, incremental. Like, should I hit the snooze button one more time, or should I have one more slice of pizza? Well, economists have a cool way of describing this. This quote from our source material absolutely nails it. Thinking at the margin isn't about deciding, should I study or not study at all? No. It's about deciding, should I study for one more hour? It's all about that next little bit. And honestly, you do this all the time without even thinking about it. In your head, you're weighing the marginal benefit, what you gained from that extra hour of studying, against the marginal cost, the fun of chatting on WhatsApp that you're giving up. If the benefit of that one extra hour feels bigger than the cost, you do it. That's rational choice in a nutshell. Okay, so let's recap. We've got scarcity, which forces choices. Those choices have an opportunity cost, and we usually make them at the margin. Now, let's zoom out and see how these exact same ideas apply to everything from your own wallet to the entire South African economy. So economics is usually split into two main branches. On one side, you have microeconomics. Think of this as the close-up view. It's looking at the choices of individuals, households, and businesses. A question like, why did ShopRite raise the price of bread? That's pure micro. Then you have macroeconomics. That's the big picture, the bird's eye view of the whole national economy. A question like, why did inflation in South Africa go up? That's macro because it affects all of us. And that brings us to one of the biggest, most fundamental questions in all of economics. We all make choices to benefit ourselves, right? That's our self-interest. But the giant puzzle is, when all of our individual, self-interested choices actually add up to something that's good for everybody, for the social interest. And look, this isn't just some abstract academic question. This is at the absolute heart of the biggest challenges we face in South Africa. Think about load shedding.
A power company, acting in its own financial self-interest, might put off expensive maintenance. But the social interest, what's good for all of us, is a reliable power grid. You see that same tension in debates about unemployment, water, you name it.
So, with all these complicated issues, how do economists actually figure things out? Well, they try to think like scientists, and they have a specific toolkit they use to separate what's fact from what's just opinion. Okay, this is one of the most important tools right here. Knowing the difference between two types of statements. A positive statement is about facts. It describes what is, and we can test it with data. But a normative statement, that's an opinion. It describes what someone believes ought to be, and you can't prove it right or wrong with facts. It's basically fact versus opinion.
All right, let's do a quick quiz. Look at that first one. The unemployment rate in SA is 32%. Fact or opinion? That's a fact. It's a positive statement. We can check the stats. How about number 2? Unemployment is too high in SA. The phrase too high is a judgment call, right? That's an opinion, a normative statement. And the last one, the government should reduce unemployment. See that word should? That's the giveaway. It's a call to action based on an opinion. Definitely normative.
For an economist, the work often begins with something that looks just like this, a table of data. And this one shows a really clear pattern, doesn't it? As the price goes up from 10 Rand to 40 Rand, the amount that people want to buy, the quantity demanded, goes down. But let's be honest, a table of numbers can be a bit hard to digest, and that's where the next tool comes in, graphs. By taking those numbers and plotting them on a chart, we suddenly get a visual story. You can instantly see that downward sloping line and understand the relationship. This graph is a simple economic model. It's a simplified version of reality that helps us see things more clearly. And there you have it, scarcity, trade-offs, opportunity cost, thinking on the margin, and the basic tools economists use. The next time you see an economic headline, don't just read it. Think about it. What are the trade-offs? What's the opportunity cost? Is that a positive statement or a normative one? Use this toolkit and you won't just be hearing the news, you'll actually start to understand the story behind it.